Hi there, my name's Jane Anderson and this is the Jane Anderson Brand You Show. It's the podcast for experts who want to have greater impact, influence and income for their businesses and careers. As experts, we know that people buy from people and work with people who they know, who they like and who they trust. So I'm so glad you're here because it's that time again now to really amplify how you show up in the world. Hi there and welcome to the Jane Anderson Brand You Show. I'm so excited that you could make it today because as you know we talk about all things brand you and personal branding, but particularly we talk a little bit about LinkedIn because LinkedIn is one of the greatest opportunities to be able to leverage your personal brand. So I'm obsessed about people who have their businesses called yourname.com because I think that we all have this incredible skill or talent that we have, and it's a great way to be able to share it and work with the world and to be able to attract clients who know, like and trust us. So today, I really wanted to take the opportunity today to talk a little bit about LinkedIn and the metrics that LinkedIn offer. So I don't know about you, but I find when I'm working with clients, they're coming to me saying, I've got my profile, I don't know what's wrong, I've got it, I think it looks professional, I'm connecting with people, I've got 500 plus connections, I think it looks okay, but I'm certainly not making any sales out of it. I'm not getting any leads, nothing's happening, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I must be doing something wrong. And so hence I've written the book along with my co-author Kylie Chown called Connect, How to Leverage Your LinkedIn Profile for Business Growth and Lead Generation in Less Than 7 Minutes a Day. So I'm not a big advocate of necessarily spending a whole lot of time on LinkedIn. I reckon you can do it in less than 7 minutes a day if you're doing it properly. Because you've got a whole lot of other things to do, right? And LinkedIn is part of your sales process. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it can certainly make a massive difference, and I run my entire business pretty much through LinkedIn. There's a couple of other things I do, but LinkedIn is the biggest. And I thought if you're in that box where, you're looking at these metrics, how do I know that this stuff's, it could say you've got 500 plus connections, you've got all-star ratings, you've got all these things that are, supposedly good, but nothing's happening. And so that's what I want to talk today about. And I want to talk today about LinkedIn's metrics that matter. So in 1988, a lady called Lisa Campbell took the world by storm. So she was an Australian bodybuilder from Victoria. She won Miss Australia, Miss World and Miss Universe. And this was long before any form of social media. So this was 1988. There was no Facebook, no Instagram. And in fact, bodybuilding was probably not a very common sport. She was way before her time. And she was competing in Europe and the US. And she even by today's standards still, she was considered one of, if not one of the best bodybuilders in the world. Anyway, so I was talking to her recently and she said that when she was training, there were a whole lot of metrics that used to matter back then and still probably, stand out now that people would think that would matter. And that's as in, you're measuring things like skin folds and fat percentages and weight and all those things. But she said that what set her apart and what made her unique during those years was that she really focused on the value of her diary and her food diary, but it was not a food diary, not just a food diary, it was about how she felt every day, how much sleep that she got and her training program. And she's been a personal trainer for 25 years and she still coaches people who are competing. But one of the things that she does is she gets her clients to keep a diary as well, because she says that there's too much attention that goes on the scales and all these other things. She said they are not leveraged enough to pay enough attention to them. And she says that these are the results, not actually the metrics that have the leverage and the metrics that matter. And it was a guy called Charles Duhigg who's written the book called The Power of Habit. And he calls habits like Lisa's diary keystone habits. And so these are everyday habits or leverage points that create really big results. So I reckon your LinkedIn profile is kind of the same. LinkedIn offers some metrics that can look valuable. So these are things that look valuable, things like all-star ratings, there's something new, which is the social selling index, which I spoke on the last podcast about, your profile's ranking, those types of things. And the thing that to remember is that the metrics that you're given are designed to motivate you to undertake more activity on LinkedIn and for you to stay on the site longer. So it's actually something called gamification. So gamification is where little games are created, and so they have little challenges, and so that you can measure yourself as to where you are, so that you want to compete with it and to be able to conquer and win, and so that you can get an all-star rating, you can get 100% on your social selling index, all those things, and they're designed to keep you on the site longer. Well, as you might know, and for people that know me, I'm actually not an advocate, even though I've written a book on it and I'm a huge advocate of LinkedIn, I'm not a fan of being on there very long, because I'm also obsessed about efficiency and effectiveness. And I don't think that staying on LinkedIn all day is the most efficient or effective thing to do. So therefore, these metrics, they might appear valuable to you, and they might, you could end up spending a lot of time trying to correct them. But I don't believe these are the metrics that matter. There are a number of other keystone metrics. I'm going to call them keystone metrics, a bit like Charles Duhigg. I reckon there are some keystone metrics that create the best results on LinkedIn for you. So for these, I think that these are, the first one is search engine optimization. So your search engine optimization, so I'm going to go through 5 of them, the 5 keystone metrics. First one, search engine optimization. So remember, LinkedIn, first and foremost, is a search engine. So you have got to be found. If you cannot be found, then you're facing an uphill battle of trying to reach out and do a lot of proactive work. So if you can't, you've got to just make it easy for people. There's someone out there trying to find you. Just make it easy for them. And if I think if you can make sure your search engine optimization's right, then you've got a metric that matters. The second one is what I call your first 4 seconds. And so when someone lands on your profile, that's the amount of time we've got to impress them. So they've got to go, oh, wow, look at this. I need to talk to this person. And if they don't, it's going to take a lot of work for you to motivate them. So I think that your first 4 seconds is definitely one of the metrics that matters. The third one, I think, is your original thought leadership and your content curation. So your original thoughts are what your market buy from you. They want to know what you think. What are your insights, and what is it that you bring to the table? But you've got to be careful that it's not too self-promoting. So too much thought leadership and too much of your own content is saying, look at me. It's a bit like Kath and Kim, if you're Australian, look at me, Kimmy, look at me. And so we don't want, to be seen as pushy, and we want to be seen. The whole thing with social media is about adding value to your audience, and it's about being mindful of that balance between self-promoting and adding value. And I think if you can look at the volume of your thought leadership and your curation is a metric that matters. And where are we up to? I think we're up to number 4. Yes, number 4. I think number 4 is the action that people take when they look at your profile. So you'll notice when you go into the area where it says look at the people who check out the people who looked at your profile. By the way, that's the most popular clicked on area on LinkedIn out of everything, so no surprises. But when people look at your profile, they need to feel compelled to want to connect with you or take action. So if you have enough of the right content and the right connections and the right information and the right 4 seconds, then people are more likely to want to connect with you and take that next step. So this metric, I think, is really important to review, but it does depend on the context of the views. So, for example, if you have a small amount of views, but a really high amount of click-throughs for your profile, then that's a really good sign. I think it's really easy to get caught up in how many people looked at your profile, but we can sometimes forget about the action that's taken. So you'll see that area, it looks like a graph, and it has, all the months, and then it has this line, and the line tells you how many people looked at your profile. But underneath it has the bar graph, and it tells you how many people took action. So I think if you can look at what action people take when they've looked at your profile, I think that is a real metric that matters. And the last one is what you say to people, your scripts when you go to connect with ideal clients. So you've got those people who offer to connect with you versus those people who you go to connect with. And something I think that I've just been talking to clients today on the phone about is that, it's easy to get frustrated with LinkedIn or ignore it because you don't get something in your inbox that says, Jane, can I please buy this from you? If you think that's going to happen on LinkedIn, then that's pretty rare. But you've got to do the work with it. And, these clients just don't magically appear. You have to do the work. But if you can do a whole lot of work, but if you're too pushy, or you haven't got the right scripting, or you're not elegant about it, just be cool about it. With the wrong scripting, then you can feel a little bit sleazy. It can feel a bit tacky, and you'll repel people. I mean, people see through it. They're not stupid. But if you can have the scripts written in a way that are authentic and that you care and that it's genuine and it's not pushy, then you're far more likely to be able to connect authentically with potential clients. And so I reckon you need to look at your scripts and the content that you use when you go to connect. And I think that is a real metric that matters. So those 5 again, I reckon the 5 you need to look at: search engine optimization, your first 4 seconds, which we talk about in the book, and I've talked about it in the impact book, your original thought leadership and your curation, the balance of that, what action people take when they look at your profile, and the scripts, the content you write when you're connecting with people. And so from here, I think what you might want to do is just go and have a look at those things and have a look at your search engine optimization. We've talked about Boolean searches before. So Boolean searches are where you remove the relationship status out of the equation and go and have a look at where you turn up in search results. You'll be able to see it on my website. I've written posts on Boolean searches and X-ray searches. But your metrics, if you can have a look at those, have a look at how much content you're writing, what's the balance of it, how many people have taken action when they've looked at your profile. And I think if you look at those metrics, then you'll start to be able to really understand what's going on. If you look at some of those other ones, the all-star ratings, social selling indexes, all those types of things, you're not going to get anywhere and you'll become frustrated. And I don't take any commissions from LinkedIn or anything like that. In fact, I probably throw rocks at them a little bit. I love LinkedIn. It's a fantastic tool, but you have to know what you're looking for to make it work. And so if you can get those metrics right, your metrics need to move your potential clients into your sales meetings. And if you focus on things like likes and comments, those things don't matter. They don't convert, and you're simply not even encouraging them to become clients. So you need to make it easy for people to work with you and focusing on those metrics that matter. And as Peter Drucker said, he's the world-leading management consultant, and he said, what's measured improves. And I reckon if you can find those things that are in your profile that I mentioned and measure those metrics, then you'll start to be able to really leverage your LinkedIn profile to create business growth and to create leads and work with people that you love working with, and you get to make a difference within the world. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Hope today's been helpful. Please jump on the website, have a look at the book. The Connect book is going to be released very soon, so we're down to the last few weeks now. We've had a couple of little hiccups with with covers and a few different things. But we're on the home straight right now. We're nearly there, so keep an eye out. I will certainly be talking about it on the podcast. You're very welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I will put information up about the book on there. But you can pre-order on the website. On the website, if you go to www.jane-anderson.com.au/books, you will see the book there. And you're very welcome to pre-order, and we'll get it out to you. It's not far away. But of course, you're very welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. Keen to hear how you've used your metrics and how it's all going for you. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week, and I look forward to hearing how you're going on your LinkedIn profile as well.